He had the size, the talent, the hype.
3 years from now, you could be looking at a guy who one of the elite top 5 quarterbacks in this league.
A rocket arm that could launch a football 70 yards from his knees. The NFL saw a superstar in the making. But just 3 years later, JaMarcus Russell was gone. The #1 overall pick out of the league, forgotten. So what really happened to JaMarcus Russell? Were the stories true? Or was there something deeper that the headlines never told you? Let's unravel.
Whenever that dreaded word bust comes up, you're a part of it. Do you consider yourself the biggest bust in NFL draft history?
Chapter 1, The Fast Life. Coming out of LSU, JaMarcus Russell looked like the next big thing. He was 6'6", over 250 pounds, and had a cannon for an arm. Scouts raved about Russell being a rare physical athlete, calling Russell John Elway-like.
Game tapes. I was at his pro day. I played against Elway and Marino in college. I'm not telling you that this is going to be the best player ever. What I am telling you is he's got the physical skill set better than any quarterback I've ever seen in my life coming out of college.
Even Mel Kiper, the godfather of mock drafts, was calling for Russell to be a star and a franchise quarterback for years. But what teams ignored was everything else. Russell had only started 1 full season at LSU and just 25 games. Questions raised about his leadership, preparation, and consistency. But those concerns were drowned out by the highlight reel and a legendary Sugar Bowl performance.
Looking for early Doucette, who goes up and makes the Finching off the play fake. Russell looking end zone. He throws. Touchdown. Play action. JaMarcus Russell. Russell firing downfield for early Doucette. He makes the catch. 4 wide receivers. Russell looking to run it in. Great play. Russell escapes, and now he throws downfield for Brandon LaFell.
The most valuable player for the All-State Sugar Bowl to JaMarcus Russell.
Chapter 2, The Weight of Expectations. In 2007, the Raiders made him the #1 overall pick.
With the first pick, 2007 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select quarterback JaMarcus Russell, LSU.
And handed him a $61 million contract.
The money came into play, bro. I was young. They called us immediately. Gave us more money than they were supposed to give us in the beginning.
The most ever for a rookie at the time. But instead of being developed slowly, Russell was thrown into a dysfunctional franchise in a full rebuild mode. Coaching changes, lack of veteran leadership, and internal chaos plagued his rookie season. He missed most of training camp during a contract holdout, starting his career already behind.
Bro, I ain't held out, bro. Why would I hold out, bro? I'm trying to play football, bro. Y'all tell me what y'all gonna pay us, bro. Then you know how it go, bro. But guess what? I started finding out about the business side of it. A TV check. Every team get a TV check, $300-400 million. So my contract wasn't being negotiated up until the first week of the season. That ain't my fault. I done been to every mandatory mini camp, every whatever. I've been there, I ain't missed a day. So why would I miss a day now?
The Raiders were not in a great space to live the life of drafting a franchise quarterback. In fact, even Russell would admit, if another team had drafted him, his career may look massively different. Before Russell got to Oakland, they were 2-14 and had just hired their 6th head coach in 10 seasons. Chapter 3, The Decline. On the field, Russell struggled. He completed just 52% of his passes over 3 seasons and threw more interceptions than touchdowns. But off the field, things were unraveling even faster. Rumors of poor work ethic began circulating. Coaches questioned his commitment. He was reportedly given a blank DVD label game film, only to return claiming he had studied the tape. Some took this as proof he wasn't even watching film at all.
The switcheroo thing, giving you a DVD and all of those things, is that a true story?
Bro, guess what? That could be one up on me, bro. Check it out. We coming in watching film, bro. The other 2 quarters, we all watching film. This is what we do. A few weeks later, I come in. Y'all already been mean before I got here or something like at that point of time in my life, what was taking place. I might not watch it. But when he asked me a question about it, hey, yeah, it was cool, whatever, let's go, get on with it. You supposed to be teaching me so we can get better, man. Like, what's up? Like, I never, got that.
Weight gain, missing meetings, a poor attitude, and whispers of substance abuse added fuel to the fire. But was JaMarcus Russell really the villain the media painted him to be? Chapter 4, 2 sides to every story. There are a couple of ideas that people have about what happened in this historic failure. Let's go through them. There was a lack of structure. Russell was dropped into one of the league's most worst-run organizations. No consistent offensive coordinator, structure, no quarterback coach sustainability, and no accountability.
JaMarcus, we've got to get you a foot rhythm that allows you to turn the ball loose on time. You need to buy into that. And he has. We were making strides, and bam, we stepped back. And I don't have the answer other than what I've already said.
There was too much given to him too fast. At 21 years old, to become a multi-millionaire with little financial guidance or emotional support, fame and fortune hit him hard. Misunderstood. In later interviews, Russell revealed personal tragedies, death of close family members, depression, silence from those who were supposed to support him, all contributed to JaMarcus Russell's behavior in and out of the locker room. And ultimately, he was never developed. Talent doesn't replace development. The Raiders were expecting Russell to carry the team, when in actuality, he may have needed to be carried, while he was learning how to be a franchise guy and lead his team. So what was missed? JaMarcus Russell didn't just become a bust. He was an abject failure, and he was failed by a broken system, unrealistic expectations, and a franchise that needed a savior more than an offered support. It's easy to laugh at him, harder to admit that you never knew the full story. Russell will never be able to change his status in the NFL, but his journey is a lesson for the league and for the players about what happens when you confuse arm talent with leadership, when you forget that talent doesn't replace development, and ultimately, if you ignore the human behind the helmet. Plenty of people, fans and mainstream media have said Russell lacks accountability, always has. Sure, there is some judgment to be made about how Russell handled situations and his recollection of his career. But what does that matter to you? He can never fix what is broken. And how about correcting the errors of a past? He can't do that either. So it's not going to change how fans remember him or his career. And it's not like the Raiders have been much better since Russell. So he is the biggest bust in franchise history, and he might go down as the biggest bust in NFL history. And he could have taken his career way more seriously, but none of this gives us anything to fall back on. What we do know is Russell was 7-18 as a starter, throwing for 18 touchdown passes and 23 interceptions over the 3 highly disappointing seasons until the club moved on. Headlines kept mounting, expectations were rising, and the pressure continued building until ultimately he would bust. Oakland wanted this to work so bad, but didn't place their quarterback in a position to succeed. At LSU, Russell knew what the standard was to uphold, and he felt people wanted him to succeed at that standard. In Oakland, he never felt that.
Coach, he wanted to coach me. He wanted me to do well. He wanted me to succeed, and others around me as well too. In Oakland, I didn't feel that, bro. My first year, my first coach, Coach Flip, Coach Knapp, those guys I felt wanted me to succeed. After we got a coaching switch, everything switched.
Objectively speaking, both Russell and the Raiders are to blame for this historic failure. The Raiders were not stable enough, they didn't have the right infrastructure, and Russell was not accountable enough for himself or his teammates. You can't live up to a job you're not prepared for. JaMarcus Russell was no exception. The weight of being the #1 pick, a quarterback for an iconic franchise with a huge fan base, and the joy of football being robbed from his game. The personal struggles, the substance abuse, all of these things tell us that Russell was never really ready to be an NFL franchise quarterback. The moral of this story is, you can hope for something, but as the saying goes, a dream without a plan is a wish. There was no solid plan in place for Russell, and the Raiders were only wishing it would work.
When you look at it that way, I say I must have been the best to be the biggest, right? I'll say my shit didn't turn out how I would wanted it to, or not how they expected it to, you know. But if you're gonna call me a bust, like you say, put the biggest on that motherfucker.
And with that, go check out some more stories above, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace.
The biggest thing I take from it is, though, they want to point to for all things negative. And what you get to show when you continue living, when you continue sharing your story, is that they didn't break you. Because the world needs to know that.